80 years ago, the Tower of Druaga was vanquished by King Gilgamesh, yet in the present day has mysteriously rebuilt itself. Within this looming structure, a hero named Jill, alongside his allies, embarks on a perilous ascent to confront the malevolent deity residing at the pinnacle. Possessing golden armor and a sword as his hallmark weapons, Jill navigates his way through the tower's treacherous levels. Eventually, he confronts and defeats Druaga. However, post-battle, a dazed Jill is escorted by his team, awakening to their frantic escape from an unspecified threat. Seeking clarity, Jill questions the whereabouts of the princess and their adversaries. His teammates quickly fill him in on the distressing reality. Despite his guardian status and defensive role, Jill's initial combat encounter was disastrous. A single blow incapacitated him, leading to a breakdown in their strategic alignment and the ensuing pursuit by monstrous foes. This heart-sinking realization dawns on Jill. His triumphant encounter with Druaga was but a dream. In reality, within the tower, he faltered in combat, was stripped of his gear, and is now trapped, with his compatriots viewing him as a liability. Their predicament takes a fortunate turn when the Special Guard unit of Uruk conducts a routine patrol, facilitating their evasion from the monster swarm. Once safely back in the city of Mesquia, Niba, the group's chief and Jill's sibling, deems it necessary to expel Jill from their ensemble, citing his inadequacy in tower combat. The collective sentiment brands Jill as nothing more than a burden, plunging him into desolation. Roaming the streets of Mesquia, Jill is filled with a renewed determination to confront and defeat Druaga. With this resolve, he heads to the public square's employment office, hoping to recruit a team. Standing up, he delivers an impassioned speech to attract potential teammates. However, his words, especially when he brands the onlookers as mere opportunists, only invite ridicule. Amidst the jeering, an individual hurls a rock at him, causing a grievous injury. As Jill stumbles away from the ruckus, he encounters Kaya. Noticing the severity of his injury, she rushes to his aid just as he loses consciousness. He awakens in her home and, in an awkward moment, walks in on Kaya mid-shower. Kaya proposes that she and her friend Amy join Jill's mission to ascend the tower. Meanwhile, a grand parade sweeps through Mesquia. It heralds the arrival of King Gilgamesh, who is there for an inspection in anticipation of the Summer of Anu, a quinquennial event when Anu, the god king, weakens the monsters within the tower. Amidst the festivities, Jill spots Niba and, intrigued, decides to tail him. To his horror, he overhears a scheme to assassinate King Gilgamesh. Later that night, utilizing the city's sewer system for stealth, Jill and his newly formed team endeavor to thwart the sinister plan. Arriving at the scene, they find they're too late. However, to Jill's relief, Niba isn't the culprit but someone who was also trying to save the monarch. The following day, the city seems eerily undisturbed, with even the royal guards behaving as if nothing transpired. Jill's astonishment peaks when he observes a hale and hearty King Gilgamesh presiding over his throne. Niba later reveals a shocking detail. The king was rendered immortal by Druaga's curse. Further information points to a mage named Pazuzu as the mastermind behind the failed assassination attempt. As Jill and his group enjoy a meal at a roadside eatery, chaos ensues when a gargantuan slime creature invades the streets. Amidst the panic, a young girl named Kappa is ensnared by the slime, but Amy promptly intervenes, rescuing her. Grateful for the rescue, Kappa, upon learning that Jill and his comrades are tower climbers, suggests they recruit her master, Melt, into their team. She leads them to a tavern where Melt, appearing inebriated, is introduced as a mage. However, as they converse, soldiers storm in, detaining the entire group. While incarcerated, Jill suspects it's related to the assassination attempt, but unexpectedly, Kaya is summoned. To her astonishment, she meets the king, her grandfather. Wishing well for Jill's quest, he bestows upon Kaya one of his blades. Chaos ensues outside as monsters rain from the heavens. Utilizing the pandemonium, the team breaks free and, motivated by their combined goal, plunges into the tower's depths. Almost immediately, they're swarmed by spider demons. Their disjointed efforts make the encounter challenging, but they prevail. Regrouping, they acknowledge their inexperience, with only Emmy showcasing familiarity with the tower's intricacies. Now viewed as the group's tactician, she assumes the role of imparting combat strategies and explaining the tower's protocols. Elsewhere, Pazuzu, monitoring their progress, conjures a swarm of Kuzaraks, directing them towards the resting adventurers. On night watch, Jill and Kaya spot the approaching menace, rousing the group. While the consensus leans towards fleeing, Jill argues that facing challenges head-on is crucial for their ultimate goal. Convincing the others, they brace for the onslaught. Observing from afar, Niba recognizes the swarm's trajectory aligning with his brother's location and, gripped by concern, hastens to assist. However, he arrives in the aftermath, scanning the scene anxiously for signs of his brother. However, instead of devastation, Niba finds Jill and his team recuperating amidst the fallen Kuzaraks. As they journey further, the group comes across a signpost detailing a quicker route. Opting for the shortcut, they are beset by numerous traps. Activating specific orbs along this route yields bizarre outcomes, such as gender reversals, being dressed in animal outfits, or morphing into early video game graphics. Reaching the path's culmination, they encounter a gate overseen by a gatekeeper who can only be appeased through entertainment. While Jill's comrades' comedic attempts are met with disdain and consequential when he falls, Jill recalls a familial dance. However, to his chagrin, the gatekeeper dismisses it, mentioning a prior traveler's identical performance. It dawns on Jill that Niba, despite never being formally taught the dance, had secretly observed and learned it. Dispirited, the group reverts to the lengthier original route. During this detour, they rescue Jeeves and her erstwhile revered guardian from the remnants of a group ravaged by ogres. Opting to halt at a campsite, their anticipated rest is disrupted. A boy named Yuri pilfers Jill's wallet. Kappa and Melf engage in a fierce disagreement, resulting in Kappa's dismissal. However, spotting Yuri, Kappa pursues him to retrieve the stolen wallet. Upon catching him, she learns of his quest to locate his father, a branded traitor accused of pilfering the village's sacred spear. Opting for camaraderie over conflict, Kappa decides to aid Yuri in his mission. Upon discovering Kappa's new endeavor, Jill and the rest discern she has ventured into the mines with Yuri in search of the boy's father. In their quest to find Yuri and Kappa, the team agrees to search for them, despite Melf's reservations stemming from their earlier dispute. Along the way, an ogre ambushes Yuri and Kappa. When Yuri stumbles and injures himself, Kappa courageously lures the beast away, attempting to distract it. Just when she's backed into a corner, anticipating her end, Jill and his group swoop in to rescue her. They subsequently discover Yuri's father's remains alongside his shattered sacred spear. Simultaneously, General Keleb's Uruk's army encounters a formidable one-winged dragon that decimates their scouting regiment in a single devastating attack. This brutal act prompts the army's decision to eliminate the dragon. In the midst of this, Jill and Neba debate over their course of action concerning the dragon. While Jill is adamant about its extermination, Neba advocates for a strategy based on patience, intending to weaken the dragon before striking. Rejecting Neba's cautious approach, Jill approaches the Uruk's army, attempting to rally General Keleb and the climbers to confront the dragon. Although the general dismisses Jill, a compassionate lieutenant supports his cause, funding his mission. Despite initial challenges in mustering support, Jill's friends intervene, galvanizing climbers to join forces with the Uruk's army. With intelligence provided by Nima pinpointing the dragon's vulnerability, the combined strength and strategy of the coalition bring down the fearsome beast. Jill, once viewed as a liability, is now hailed as a hero for his courageous efforts. As the group continues their ascent, they discern a shift in the climber's perception of Jill. He's now revered, a stark contrast to his earlier reputation. Yet, amidst these triumphs, tragedy strikes when Kaya unexpectedly collapses, revealing to the party her affliction with a life-threatening illness. Kaya discloses that her primary motivation for entering the tower is to seek a remedy for her dire ailment. Determined to unearth the source of her affliction and discover its antidote, Jill and his companions set forth on a new mission. They pinpoint a location within the tower, renowned to hold answers. Surprisingly, this location unfolds as a distinctive floor mirroring an arcade game. Venturing in, Jill finds himself within what appears to be the original Tower of Druaga, spanning 60 floors. Intriguingly, while inside, Kaya gains the capability to manipulate Jill's actions, similar to directing a character within a video game. Throughout this endeavor, the group remains oblivious to Kaya's unanticipated recuperation. Upon reaching the tower's 59th floor, Jill regains autonomy over his movements. Here, he confronts his arch-nemesis Druaga. Conquering his adversary and advancing to the pinnacle, an exhausted Jill is met by a figure bearing a striking resemblance to Kaya. She introduces herself as Kai, Kaya's grandmother, and recounts her alliance with King Gilgamesh in defeating Druaga in days gone by. She delivers a cryptic warning of impending betrayals in Jill's future, emphasizing that the ultimate answers Jill seeks lie atop the tower. Progressing on their journey, Jill and his team confront a balloon-like behemoth in a precarious region supported merely by slender pillars. Through impeccable collaboration, they overcome this adversary. Yet their victory is fleeting. The aftermath of their confrontation triggers a catastrophic explosion, causing the fragile area to crumble, endangering all in its wake. During the explosion's aftermath, multiple parties, including Neba's and the Uruk's army who were on the same level, become intertwined and separated. Following the floor's collapse, Jill awakens at the base, encountering Fatina from Neba's group. While she proposes searching for Neba, they end up in disagreement. Elsewhere, Kaida stumbles upon Neba, and although they observe Jill and Fatina, the latter pair remain oblivious to them. As they navigate the floor, confronting monsters and challenges, they not only reconnect with their teammates but also form deeper bonds, understanding each other's aspirations and motivations. An introspective Neba confronts Kaya about the possibility of her betraying Jill. Although Kaya expresses confidence in Jill's ability to reach the top, her faith is tested when she encounters the seductive succubus, Druaga's trusted aide, who hints at an inevitable betrayal on her part. Reuniting with her comrades, Fatina is met with tragic news that Kali met his demise at the hands of Kazuzu. As the tower's pinnacle comes into view, the teams are met with daunting blizzards. Pai makes a brief appearance, cautioning Jill just before another floor gives way beneath him. The Uruk's army, although apprehensive about their chances against Druaga, remain resolute, driven by the unique distinction of their current expedition. The succubus later approaches Neba with a forewarning about the impending climax of their journey and Druaga's imminent resurgence. As the adventurers progress, their individual ambitions, goals, and desires become inextricably linked, leading to a climactic confrontation where singular desires could mean the difference between life and death. In a twist, Kazuzu confronts Neba. Jill rallies his allies to rescue Neba, and they finally ascend to the tower's peak. Yet Neba's gratitude is absent, replaced by reproach, suggesting Jill's actions are mere attempts to emulate their heroic father. Simultaneously, Kaya grapples with doubts regarding Jill's commitment to their shared goal. Entering the Sky Shrine, they are met with yet another floor collapse, marking the end of the Summer of Anu and the resurgence of the monster's power. The climax unveils as Druaga, the malevolent deity, awakens in his full might. Neba, with his companions by his side, faces off against the towering demon god. Pazuzu, having miraculously survived, throws a wrench in their plans, causing the team to falter. As Jill perceives the dire situation, he attempts to intervene, but Kaya, focused on the tower's pinnacle, tries to prevent him. Apologetically, Jill frees himself from her and recklessly charges at Druaga, forcing the climbers into a perilous maneuver against the formidable foe. Separated from the group, Ima confronts Pazuzu, who seeks to divert him from Druaga's assault. As the group battles valiantly against Druaga, Amy makes a brave strike at its head, tragically sacrificing herself in the process. This loss devastates the group, diminishing their morale. Kai intervenes, reigniting Jill's determination. Rallying the climbers, Jill orchestrates a scheme to trap Druaga in the tower's apex. Willing to risk it all, he offers himself as bait, aligning with his guardian destiny. Witnessing Jill's profound sacrifice, an emotional Kaya reconciles, confessing her love with a heartfelt kiss. Their reunion is short-lived when Druaga suddenly confronts them. The team struggles to predict its moves, and just as Jill faces imminent danger, Neba intervenes, utilizing Amy's Forsaken Staff, which was lodged in Druaga's neck. Together, they overpower Druaga. Yet, the victory is bittersweet. As Jill moves to secure the coveted blue crystal rod, Neba's treachery surfaces. He clarifies the true nature of their adversary and the rod's significance as a gateway to the tower's hidden depths. The climbers are left reeling from Neba's confession of using them as mere pawns in his scheme. In a shocking twist, he suggests another betrayal within their ranks. Suddenly, water engulfs the floor. To everyone's astonishment, Kaya aligns herself with Neba, and they continue their ascent. Our narrative concludes with a drenched Jill holding Fatina, emerging onto a lakeside near Messia, desperately calling out for Kaya. And that concludes our anime story. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a like.